Well, look at this. No name Cherry Burst. Well, actually, now it does have a name. Is on the bench, and the reason it's on the bench for rework is because when I originally wired this Gilmore switch, I connected it directly across the output of the neck pickup and the output of the bridge pickup going to the jack. That caused a little bit of a problem where it's not exactly doing what I want it to do. So it's going to need to be moved. So originally one lead is connected up here to the red. Can't see any of that in that light, can you? So the top blue lead was connected where the red is. I got to move it down here to B2 so that the switch is only effective in position 1 and position 2. And then no matter where you put the rest of it, doesn't matter if this is on or off, it makes no difference. That's what was supposed to happen, and that's not what happens because it's on no matter where the switch is, and that's not what I wanted it to do. So I have to undo the neck, I have to undo the pick guard, I have to move that wire, and then I've noticed, since I've taken this out to do episode 73, it is, yeah, this is number 73, episode 73. It probably needs a little shim, not much, because the neck seems to have a slightly built-in back bow, and when I have to create a little bit of relief on this, I get a little bit too much scooping in the middle, and then it's too close up here. So I'm going to try to straighten that out and see if I can get this to cant back a little bit, just heighten the saddles a tiny bit on the setup, and do some additional lubricating of the nut slots up here. So to start with, how we normally go about this typically is we put a capo up here just to hold these strings in place, and we have a winder, and the winder is here to unwind these strings, because I need to remove the neck. Now the whole point of doing it like this is to not waste a brand new set of strings. We'll slightly loosen the neck screws. Can use this. Do I have a I'm just going to put these in a baggie because I'm going to walk this back to bench 1 where I'm going to need to do the adjustments and the reset up and find the right shim. Yes. Now, turn that back over That has to come out. Oh, I have a shim in there. This was the one that brought it up. I forgot about that. Let me see if I can turn this around now. Like that. Okay. So I do have this shim, which raised it, but didn't give me the tilt. Alright, let me go through this quickly and be able to get this guard loose. All of them. Yep, that's all of them. Yes, I gotta move that. Oh, this one moves here. I'm going to get the air bridge and do a test. Okay, I got the air bridge. Let's see if it'll do what I want. Nope. So it's not the right place. Hold on by, I gotta find out why. Alright, problem solved. Two things. I had to move this wire from A1 to B2, but I was also missing the jumper for the two commons between, you know, B1 and A4, the way it's numbered on this drawing. So yes, so that's in. So now it works as prescribed. It works as prescribed. So when it's up, that's on in the first position, or not. In the second position, it's on and not. In the third position, not. Only that one. So now this makes no difference. Once it goes past here, this one's not always on, because what happened with the other wiring was when I was in this position, as long as that was on, this and this was always connected. So that's wrong. Now it's right. I shall put the screws back in and move to bench 1 to complete the other part of the work. So back at bench 1, I attempted to put the neck in with a 0.20 millimeter, and turns out the screws were spinning in there. Now that I increase the depth with this shim. The screws are on the shorter side, and the biting wasn't that good. So I have a choice of this dowel or the bigger dowel. This one doesn't fit tight on all of them. That one's snug enough, and that one's snug, well, not even that one. So I'm going to need to drill the holes out to just under the size of this dowel, which is what is 5.45 millimeters. Well, this is 5.75, 5.91. It depends on where you're grabbing it. So what I've decided to do is go with a drill bit that comes in at 547, because I'm getting 575, 559, 561. I'm getting numbers all over this dowel, so they're not 100% even all over the place. But if I get the hole just undersize, I can goop it up with wood glue and bang it in there to make it nice and tight. That's the plan. So now, before I can reassemble, I must do some reconstruction work. On this neck. Darn! So I will open that up, cut that, goop it in with some wood glue, and I'll have to let it sit overnight and re-drill some holes tomorrow. Okay, it's been a couple of days now since I put the plugs in here, and I did put the larger ones in. They fit in very well, and I actually put some stain on this because when I sanded off the ends of the poles, I thought, oh, I took the stain off. So I have some water-based stain, made these look like they're burgundy, and then as I was rubbing it on, I felt a lump around this post where it wasn't flush like the other ones. As I was coming across the heel, I could feel a bump. I'm thinking, that's not right. So I got my chisel out and I ran it across there, and I did shave it down a little bit to make it feel flat. And then I checked it with my expensive machined ruler, and as I'm doing that, I'm going, oh, look at that. It is flush, but just at the end of the heel here, there was a fall off. I mean, it was shaved down. And so over on the, on the base side, it was much closer to the heel end than it was in the middle and over here. And over here on the treble side, I could actually rock my ruler. Now I know this is straight because it's a general something or other engineering ruler, and I know it's straight, and it's got a really flat edge on the edge of it, so I know it's good. So now what I did was I cut a piece of 0.24 millimeter cardboard, and I cut it to the size that I needed to put here, and then I overlaid it and I crazy glued it or CA glued it to the heel so that I wouldn't get this rocking anymore. So now when it fits in the pocket, I know it's going to be all right. Because the screws are actually forward of that, it probably would not have caused an issue in the pocket, but because I needed to put a shim in here, the shim would end up having support around the screw holes, but not right to the back of the heel, and that's why I filled it in, so that would be flush for my shim. So you know I've got this wooden shim, and that's to raise the neck in the pocket, and I'm going to try a 0.20 millimeter. I don't think I need a lot, but I'm going to try 0.20 millimeter. If not, I'll go to a 24. So now what I've got to do is get this neck back in the pocket and mark the holes. And I just got to watch now which way my, oh, I think I got it right. The strings are on here. I also put some lubrication in my nut slots, just because I had it open again. Let me put this cable back up there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is move you a little bit like this, and try to get these strings to be all on one side. And to get the strings to cooperate and go where they're supposed to go. And then we can just hold it like that. Alright. So I gotta stand it up, I guess, like I should have done last time. And I'm going to use the screws to mark the holes. And again, they're not in there, so I'm just going to stand it up and get it, you know, like snug in that pocket. I didn't put the shims or anything in yet. I just got to mark the holes, or I got to re-drill them out again. And I'm thinking, I looked and I checked, and I'm going, yeah, these are probably deep enough to get the plate and everything in there. They're probably deep enough. I have some that are a little bit longer, but I think they might end up coming out into the fingerboard, which I don't want. Okay, so I'm just going to give each one a little tap, just to make a point. In the wood. And hopefully that did its job. I keep putting these things down and I forget where I put them. Okay, hammer out of the way. Spin this back around. Or maybe I can just leave it like this, face down, for now, like that. Move it backwards a little bit. And I've got a cardboard here that I can put underneath that. Alright, so I did get the holes marked. This one down here in the corner is still, I don't know, pretty close to the edge. Now, choosing the right drill bit this time. The number of times you have to take the neck on and off will determine how well they maintain their tightness, you know, after a number of times on and off. So let's see what we've got. The 3/16 is good, but I think it's the wrong size. It probably needs to bite with something like a 5/32. But before I do that, I'm going to take a 3/32 and just start a pilot hole in each one of these spots. Got to make sure they are deep enough. Why does that not seem like it's... Either the bit is warped or my chuck is warped. I think it's the bit. Yeah. Okay, so the plugs went in, but they didn't go all the way to the bottom because I felt the drill bit go through on the two on the upper side. Okay, so this bit is warped. That's got to go. I'll have to find another one of those as a spare. Sorry for the noise. I'll blurt it out. I think I'm going to do even a 9/16 as opposed to the other one, just so the hole doesn't get too big to begin with. Okay, that's the end of the noise. Okay, so we've got to place the shims in there first. Okay, we're going to just turn this back over. We got the strings divided one more time. So this shim. One more time. So that shim goes face up, and this one goes face down. I've cut out some of the debris around the hole, so the screws don't catch it. This one's got a little bit left in it. There we go. Just trying to get the screws to pass through more freely, kind of like this pink one, which is 0.25. You want, when you just drive the screws through for the first time, you're pretty much okay. When you take it out, then it starts to go back and forth, and I have the feeling it buggers up the screws, so we're just gonna do that. All right. Now I had something on this which came off. I think I had a dabadooya of some adhesive on that. And it wasn't the wood glue, because I didn't want it to stick completely hard in case it wasn't good. Okay, so I'm just going to get myself a piece of paper towel here to wipe my finger on, because I'm just going to put a little dab on here of this craft glue. So this will become part of the pocket. Kind of stay in place. Then I only have to worry about the cardboard ones. I've glued in nuts with this stuff as well. Elmer's school glue. Nuts don't have to be glued in with CA glue. They'll stay in place with any kind of glue that is even light glue like that. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. And we have a plate. One, two, three, four. Okay. We need to get one started. And my screwdriver is in reach. Let's get another one. Oop. Opposite corner. Good. but I don't have to take this off too many more times. I'm making a judgment call. Now when I do this, I always like to get the front ones snug up first so that it's holding the neck down tight on this joint. And then you put pressure on the shim at the back. Try to give it the angle we're looking for. I just guessed at the small or thin shim. And so now we have to go through the other process of putting some tension on here and see what happens. I've noticed that when I put shims in necks, every time you take it off, it seems to present itself with a new place. Like now, this neck is much higher in the pocket than it was originally. So now the string is sitting right on the fretboard, and before that used to sit much lower in the pocket. With the raising shim in it. So more investigations need to be done. All right, I did it off camera. So I took this wooden shim out. It did drop the neck properly. It seems like the 0.20 is working so far. I might need to go a little bit more. I'm not sure. I have to wait for it to settle in. So she's tuned. And I'm going to let it settle, but first let's go to the amp behind me and see what happens. Well, here we are. We're plugged in, we're tuned up, and it still goes. And the problem I was having before with the bending, choking out at certain places, still there. But only on the high E string. Sounds familiar, right, Dad? I could probably get past that if I raise the action on my high E a scoosh. Other than that, it's working. Now I just noticed this. In this position, the bridge. The bridge! Let me show you. Bridge. Add the neck. Second position. Bridge. Add the neck. So here, they should all be on. So you get 3 on it in position 2. And when you go there, this goes off. And you don't have the neck because this no longer has any effect. However, this happened. When I'm in the neck position, was it in the neck position? No. In this position, with the switch on, I can take out the bridge and then the neck. But if the neck is down, the independent volume for the bridge is not working. So somehow this one is controlling everything. The neck is working fairly well. I've got the right amount of relief in the middle where I want it. Oh, something's happened. This I didn't notice. This one's controlling the volumes all the time. You know, and I bet you it's because I put the two commons together. I bet you that's what the problem is. Normally they're not supposed to be together, but I thought they had to be together in order to get this position. But yes, this is probably the issue. The two commons are together, and therefore it ends up routing everything through whatever is the last pot in the chain, which would be this one. Darn. And I didn't want to take the neck off again in order to play with that. Anywho, that's where we are. So no shim, raising shim, we've got an angle shim. Everything's set up okay. But now I've got still this electronics mini issue here that I don't know if it's going to bother me enough to take it all apart again or not. We shall see. I bet you some of you knew as soon as I turned off the camera from the last clip that I couldn't let this go. And you were right. You guys know me. So yes, I couldn't let it go. So I had to take it apart again. Luckily it went back together as before. However, I did end up breaking the high E string, just unwinding it to loosen it up. It snapped. So this time I put a luthier's knot on the top. Just snug this locking bit so that it doesn't pinch the string up here, because they always break the high E string. Okay, so I'll end up clipping that off, but it's now working the way I want it to work, and this is why. Up here I'll put up number 1, and on number 1 you can see that the switch is wired between B4 and A1. That was causing me the problem of the volume pot for the bridge in middle, for the neck in middle, taking down the bridge as well. So that went directly through the switch that way. But what's supposed to be is here, number 2. Number 2 is, again, still B4, but wired to A4. And that's what gives me these positions here. In this position, number 1 on the switch here, you get the bridge and nothing else. But if you engage the toggle switch, you get the neck. But if I take down this volume pot, it doesn't affect the neck, doesn't affect the bridge. However, in that position, playing with the bridge volume will allow you to dial in the amount you want from the bridge. So you can blend the neck, with the neck, the bridge in. In position 2, with that switch on, we'll keep that down. Normally, we'll keep it up. Normally what happens here is that you end up with the middle and the bridge, right? You got that. But because the switch is on, you also get the neck. If you take it off, it goes back to normal. In this position, that volume takes that down. That volume takes the middle down. So they work independently. If you turn that switch up, so now you get the neck, middle, and bridge. Take the bridge down. Oops. Nothing happens. I'm sorry. Yes, it does. I forgot where it was. This happens. You end up being able to blend in the middle with that one and this one on as you wish, or you can also take some of this one down. So now they're still okay that way. Moving to the middle with this switch on, or let's say so off, you end up with the middle only. If you turn the switch on, now you've got the neck and the middle together. In this position, you can now use the neck and middle volume pot to take down the middle and blend it with the neck, or they're both on. Of course, the other one has nothing to do with anything. In the fourth position, typically you still get these two on, so the switch basically does nothing in that position. In the fifth position, you normally only get that, and again it does nothing in the fifth position. So 4 and 5, the switch has no effect, but it does offer you options in positions 1, 2, and 3. That's how I wanted it to work, and it took me a little while at the bench number 2 to figure out why it wasn't working properly, because I thought I was where I was supposed to be. And because I was connected to A1, I was always connected to the output of the pot number 1 here. So that was a problem. I needed to go to the common. I also took out the wire between the commons of B1 and A4. It's still unrequired. I went back to one of my earlier strats that I had done this mod on with the 2 volumes and the 1 tone, the monoprice, Indio monoprice Strat, the white one, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, I wired it exactly right compared to that one, except I wanted to put this toggle switch in. So all I had to do was find the 2 terminals. So we're up to snip, and now we can go ahead with story number 73, and you've already heard this little bit of an update, so I'll just refer to this in the next episode. Catch you there. Appreciate all your support.